Greetings. Today we are going to expose the devil. And in order to expose the devil, there's certain things you have to know about yourself. And the very first thing you have to know about yourself is that when you were expressed in this world as a child, you didn't know that you were existing in this world. Which means that you're born in this world in a state of amnesia, which is a state of forgetfulness. Therefore, when you are expressed in this physical three-dimensional world, you had no religion, absolutely no religion. You had no doubt, no fear, guilt, shame, condemnation. You had none of those things. You were dwelling in a place of innocence. And each time as you grow, you was coming to a place where you would ask yourself, who am I? You want to know who you are. Okay? So it means that the fundamental sin is the sin of not knowing who you are, or the ignorance of not knowing who you are. So sin is ignorance. Now, you're born in this world with your will, your perception, your reasoning, your intuition. And all of these mental faculties keep expanding as you grow and become older in life. Okay? And so those faculties was to be used to lead you and guide you throughout your entire life. And so there's a part of you that will keep you looking on the outside, which is this physical three-dimensional world. And that will trap you in this physical three-dimensional world. Because you'll only be thinking in terms of what you can see, you can taste, you can touch, and you can smell. And there's another part of you that would teach you that there's an invisible side of your existence. Those things that you cannot touch physically, or taste physically, or smell physically. So there's two realms. So there's the realm of the physical and the realm of the non-physical. There's your lower self and there's the higher self. Now, you have the right brain hemisphere, or the right hemisphere of your brain and the left hemisphere of your brain. One is going to lead you to heaven and one is going to lead you to hell. One is operate by the backward way of living. So evil and live is the same word. And the devil is the word live. But you're going to live a backward way. And that is why when you understand that the devil is your negative self, your lower self, that limited self of you that wants to keep you trapped in this three-dimensional world, then you will realize that the lower self is being expressed in flesh. And that lower self that has been expressed in flesh, its playing ground, or its camping ground, I should say, its camping ground is the pulpit. Because remember, if the devil want to take the place of God, which is your lower self, want to take the place of your higher self, then it have to assume that it is in the leadership role. That is why preachers want to make you believe that they are different from you and that they are the mediator between you and your higher self. So they are usurping authority by you giving them access to your higher self. You see, when you understand that the Bible is a book of mind science, when you realize that everything in the Bible, it has to do with the human mind, from Genesis 1 to Revelation 22, it's all parabolic. And many people are taking allegory for history, and they're taking personification for persons. And the reason why they're doing that and thinking that the Bible is literal and secular history that is pointing them to look outwardly, it is because the devil in flesh, which is the lower self of man, is using the pulpit to cast their spells and their enchantments, to bring the people under their spells and their enchantments by bringing what? Fear upon the people. So most people are afraid of the unknown. And most people, if they knew how to avoid death, there wouldn't be no religion. Because if a person knew exactly how to avoid death, he wouldn't need to go to listen to no preacher, because the preacher is telling you what would happen to you after death, but he haven't died and have any experience, but he's telling you what happened after death, and he's promising you a good life after death. That's the devil doing that. But most people do not know that is one trying to keep you in your lower self by pointing you to look outside of yourself, and he's pointing you to look to a kingdom that is on the outside. So if you notice, right, from the pulpit, they are promoting guilt, shame, condemnation, and judgment. When you're born in this world, you have no guilt, you have no shame, you have no judgment, you have no condemnation. All of those things were programmed into you. And those things been programmed into you to rob you from knowing who you really are. Because in life, everyone wants to know, who am I? And if you ever ask yourself, who am I? When the answer comes, it must be, I am that I am. Which is to say, I am whatever I believe myself to be. For as a man thinketh in his heart. When the Bible speaks about thinketh as a man thinketh in his heart, it is speaking of the invisible place in man as he thinks from that realm where thoughts come from. Because thoughts come from the invisible and being made visible. That is why thoughts become things. So everything in this world, it was first a thought, it was first an idea. Everyone using the internet, it was first a thought, it was first an idea. Everybody using money, it was first a thought, it was first an idea. Everyone wearing clothes, it was first a thought, it was first an idea. People using the aeroplane, people using the automobile, everything. They were first a thought, it was first an idea, it was first invisible and now made visible and could contact by the five senses. So the devil, which is your lower self, always wants to keep you in the physical, three-dimensional world to make you believe that you're a human and that you're trying to be spiritual. Because they make you believe when you go to church and when you follow the norm, follow the traditions, follow the teachings that have been handed down to you, because remember, you're born in this world not knowing who you are, and you're born in amnesia, and so they set up your parents first of all, who have already been brainwashed, to pass down their programming upon you, the child, and then the school system along with the religious system, they make sure they merge the religious system into the school system. That is why all the islands that have been colonized, they make sure they set up an educational system where they use also the religious system to captivate the minds of the children. Yet, these same people tell you that the Jesus that they're preaching to you, that he was responsible at the age of 12. But before the children could reach the age of 12, they make sure they program their subconscious mind with a belief that there's a savior and a redeemer outside of themselves. So they keep you from looking within yourself to find that there's greatness within you, to find the saving power and the redeeming power within your own self. So they're shaping you to have self-doubt. That's why most people live in self-doubt, guilt, shame, limitation, and so on. And why do they do that? For power differential. That's why they do that. And so, if you do not realize that the devil is the man on the pulpit, you would never realize that what most people are gravitating to and think they're worshiping God, they're actually worshiping their lower self, the devil. And they do not know it. That is why they believe that there's a man who came 2,000 years ago with special powers. Yet, if you look at nature, you see pumpkin, always bring back pumpkin. Watermelon, always bring back watermelon. You plant corn, you're going to reap corn. But these people are saying that this special man of 2,000 years ago is within them. But yet, they cannot turn literal water into wine. But they believe it was literal water. They believe a man literally walked on water. They believe a man literally called the dead from the grave. But yet none of them could do it. The reason why they can't do it, because it's not true. It's not literal. It is a psychological jammer of how the mind really works. And so, because most people do not understand the Bible from a metaphysical standpoint or from an esoteric standpoint, because they do not understand it psychologically, and they've been pointed to look outwardly, they live their life believing that they're better than other people because there are certain things they're doing and the other people not doing those things, like go to church and refrain from certain things. That's why they were able to convince us that you have to sign a piece of paper to fulfill the very act of the natural impulse of sex. When your mother never signed a piece of paper to see your period. And that is when a woman starts to blossom, which is a sign that she can now bring forth after her kind. The same thing with the plants. When the plants start to blossom, it's a sign that the plants can bring forth fruit after its own kind. But yet they convince the world that you have to pay the establishment some money so you can partake without guilt and shame, which they brought upon you. That is why I'm saying, when your eyes are open, you see the devil is at the pulpit. He's taking the place of God, which is your higher self. And that is how deep the brainwash is. And that is why people are going to look at you strange, they're going to look at you funny. Because, why? The masses. They claim that there's over 8 billion people in this world. Out of that 8 billion, is only 1%. Only 1% knows what is happening in this world and realize that all these people who are religious and superstitious and who chat by religion and politics and even false education, because real education is within, not without. That is why the school system teach you what to think, but they never teach you how to think. That is why when you finish school, the next thing is a job, because they're preparing you for the job market. They're not going to teach you that greatness is within you. They're not going to teach you that you have a special gift and a special calling in your life, and you have to seek to know what is that special calling and that special gift. No, they prepare you for the job market. That's why most people live their life thinking life is based on going to just to a 9 to 5, and then when you get older and you're going to die and you're afraid of the unknown, you join a religion, you join a church. And that's how the masses live. They've been conformed and fail to realize there's only one way that you can transform your life. Is by the renewing of your mind. Which means you have to rearrange your mind. You have to restructure your mind from the way how you were taught by your parents, your school teachers, your political leaders, and your religious leaders. And you have to learn to think for yourself. That is why the devil don't want you to discover who you are. The devil do not want you to have self-knowledge. That's the work of the devil, to keep you from self-knowledge. That is why the devil in flesh is the man on the pulpit, because he is keeping you in your lower self, and he himself is living in his lower self and not his higher self. That's why they preach to you a God outside of himself and make you believe that God is some man in the sky, and then they use their mind power to make weapons, and then they get into wars, and then the people fail to realize that everything is created twice, first in the mind, and then it's been expressed outwardly. So when the religious, superstitious people see wars being fought, they say, oh, it's the fulfillment of prophecy. But when money was invented, it's not the fulfillment of prophecy. When the aeroplane, when the internet, when the phone, when all of these things that we use on this earth, that they turn around and call the blessings of God, you know. They don't say it's the fulfillment of prophecy because they do not understand how these things are being created. And the devil makes sure he do that to keep you in mental slavery, for you to have to live in mediocrity, for you to live in poverty. Do you realize poverty is a state of mind? Do you realize most people are owned by the banks? That is why they had to take the inoculation in 2020. And the very Bible they're reading says that the rich ruleth over the who? Over the poor. And the borrower is a slave to the lender. The devil don't want you to know that true money is currency. Your inner electricity that you can use to attract things in your life, if you understand the science of inner spiritual alchemy. They don't want you to know that you are electrical and magnetic. They don't want you to know that everyone in this world is connected. So you could have people doing favors for you if you know how to use your power. That's why most people believe they have to go to the bank. That is why they use university and higher learning to trap you in debts. So you borrow to come back to work at 95 to pay them back, when you could use your mind power to get the right kind of idea, operate on the idea and work upon the idea and become who you are, and become who you want to be, I should say. That's why they do not want you to know who you are. So the devil's main job is to keep you from knowing who you are. And that is why the preachers don't want you to know who you are, so they make you believe in Jesus. When you're supposed to discover you are the real Christ. You are the real problem solver. No one can solve the problem in your life but you. So when you read about Jesus and they say, this man opened the eyes of the blind, he healed the sick, and gave hearing to the deaf. When you think it is telling you, it is speaking of a problem solver, but the problem solver is in you, not in someone else. That is why when there is a disaster, any part of the world, it affects everyone. Whether you're religious, superstitious, whether you're not religious, you're not superstitious, doesn't matter who you are. It will affect you, but the religious, superstitious people are going to say it's a warning. It's a warning and it is God and it is that. Because why? Their foundation is built upon fear, doubt, guilt, shame, condemnation, and delusion. So, when I speak to you, it is because I am exposing the devil. You see, no man from the pulpit could expose the devil when they themselves is actually teachings of the devil, which is teachings of your lower self. They're teaching you to be limited. They're teaching you to think that you're a human. And you're just having a human and you're supposed to be spiritual. When you're a spirit having a human experience, you are eternal. They make you believe that death is real, when death is just a transition. It's a metamorphosis. And no one is going to leave this planet alive. Only religious, superstitious people believe that they're going to leave this planet alive because they believe they're going to come when they're going to jump out of their body. Well, I will have that kind of experience. That's why I could expose it. You would awake in your body. to find your body to be the tomb. And you would experience a birth, which is the second birth. And that's when you will give birth from a skull. And then you will understand what is Golgotha. But they don't want you to know that. That's why those of you who listen to me, I definitely tell you to prepare for my book, The Secret Vagina, The Secret of the Virgin Birth. Okay? I guarantee you, it will be available to you very, 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 very soon. I finish everything. Okay? So it will be available to you very soon. So, those of you who would like to get that book, The Secret Vagina, it will help you a lot. Okay, and everything that's written in it is based on what I would have experienced. So my brother and my sisters, we have to expose the devil. The devil is in disguise. You see, if you go to America, you go to any place in the West or whatever, they tell you this is a Christian nation. And they give you an anthem to sing. They give you certain belief. And they do certain things from the highest realm. So everybody look up to those things. But all of that is a part of the brainwash. So to expose the devil is to expose the lower self. Which means, if you allow other people to influence the way you think and act, they could keep you in your lower self instead of you living in your higher self. That is why they use funerals to bring fear upon people when they go to funeral. Why does the dead need to go to a church? All of that is empty traditions that they use to play with people's subconscious mind, because people lack knowledge. And people destroy for lack of knowledge. That is why 2020 pandemic, the big scamdemic, was so successful. Because most people are brainwashed. Most people are deceived. Most people are delusional. And if you live in the West, and if you live in secular Christianity that is pointing to look outwardly, it is keeping you in captivity, because it is the devil on the pulpit with his enchantment and his spells, because words are spells. So when you listen to anyone, even as you listen to me, this is me casting out my spell and enchantment. Okay? That is why if what I'm saying doesn't resonate with you, just leave it alone. But if it makes sense to you and it resonates with you, then it is definitely for you, because great mind thinks alike. That is why all religious and superstitious people, they will always think alike. Because they will always be the wise and the foolish. There's only two kinds of people in the world. The wise and the foolish. The rich and the poor. So my brother and my sisters, if you're listening to me, and what I'm saying, if it makes sense to you, it is definitely for you, because I'm going to come to a close here. I want to say to you, if this is the very first time that you're listening to me and what I'm saying, if it makes sense to you, if it really resonates with you, and you haven't subscribed already, I'm definitely going to encourage you to subscribe, to like, to comment, and to share this video. Also, if you like to follow me on Instagram and like to follow me on TikTok, you can definitely follow me at BlackMadGuru. And if you like to grab a hold of my work, all of the links are down below that you can grab a hold of my works. You can get my books, you can get my merch, and you can be a part of my Patreon community. Also, I have a course that I call the Inner Sun Science and Technology to create your reality consciously. And along with that is a bonus course on self-concept. So if you want to grab a hold of that, I would also encourage you to check out all of the links that are down below. And let your intuition lead you and guide you. Do you know that your intuition is the Holy Spirit? That is always in you, that want to lead you and guide you. But the preachers want to lead you away from that spirit and tell you that some other spirit is going to come and make you speak in a bunch of gibberish and say you're speaking in tongues. My brother, my sister, I can go on and on and on, but I'm going to come to a close here, and I want to thank you very much for listening to me. I want to say peace. Love you all. Out.